Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the backstory. If you are new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Now ladies and gentlemen, they say that there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies in politics. The only constant thing is permanent interest. And I think that is one thing that the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua does not understand. And for him, if you are his enemy, or if he doesn't like you, then it remains so. Why do I say so? The Deputy President, when they came into power, two constant people that have remained his permanent enemies are the former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And when they were elected, he read a riot act to Raila while he was visiting his central backyard. They were attending a funeral somewhere in Central, and you guys remember this video.
Wewe mlikuwa mnipangia kwenda Kamiti, Mungu akakataa. Si ni Mungu alikataa? Aliniwekelea makesi ya uongo ati nifungwe. Ati kwa sababu nimekataa kuunga huyu mzee mkono. Na mimi sikuwa na maneno. I had my right and choice ya William Ruto. So mimi it's true I have no experience in committee. And God amenisaidia, mlitaka niende hapo, Mungu akaniokoa. So wewe tutakualika kuja tusaidiane from your experience in committee. If there is some useful information you can offer, tusaidiane. Finally, former Prime Minister, my brother, hatukatai salamu, hatukatai maongeo. Najua kikwetu, maybe huyu governor atakwambia. Abuga modu wanarumone nyamu jirole. Ona kanyoko kekate. What we say? Somebody who has been bitten by a black snake. Even when you see a black pot, you run away. And it's good I tell you today because you are here and you have raised the matter. We fear you. The reason, ulikuja unakapata na mtoto wetu Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa mtu mzuri. Alitupenda. Alitufanyia kazi. Mliposhikana na yeye akageuka. Akija kwako alikuwa anacheka. Akija hapa ako na makasiriko. Tukakuwa na wasiwasi. That is the reason. And I must tell you that is why tukisikia mambo ya salamu tunakuwa na uoga. Mimi mwenyewe Uhuru Kenyatta, I was his personal assistant. He was my best buddy. Tulikuwa tunakula pamoja, tunakunywa pamoja, anatembea kwangu, natembea kwake, watoto wetu walikuwa marafiki, mabibi zetu walikuwa marafiki. Aliposhikana na wewe akanigeuka mimi anataka kunifunga. That is why we fear. I must tell you today because that is why when Uhuru Kenyatta before ashikana na wewe alikuwa anaenda kanisani kila Jumapili. Mliposhikana hakwenda kanisani tena. That is why tuko na wasiwasi. Lakini if you assure us hakuna kitu kitafanyika kwa rais wetu mkipatana muendelee. Lakini sisi katika area hii tunaogopa. Katiguo Moda chokia kana haraga kiriatea. Moda chokia kana haraga kiriatea. No egejira muthuri uyu lakini hatuna ubaya former prime minister. Wewe umpegania second liberation, we respect you. We respect your democratic credentials as a senior citizen and nobody has any problem. What we are saying, former prime minister, what is the purpose of elections? Elections are won and lost. Once you win, you govern. Once you lose, you become the opposition. But the kind of mongrel that Uhuru Kenyatta created in 2018, you could not tell who is opposition and who is government. And that is why there was theft of public resources, because there was no opposition to check anybody. So we are saying ourselves, come we talk, but you and your people cannot join our government. It is not possible, because there is no constitutional provision. And we also cannot accept it because you mess us up the way you messed Uhuru Kenyatta. We cannot agree. Uhuru Kenyatta, we pray for him so that God can heal his heart. Because we don't know what happened after the handshake. He was a great man. He was a great leader. He was compassionate. After that handshake, he became brutal. He became dictatorial. He became intolerant. We don't know what happened. We pray God to heal our son Uhuru Kenyatta, to come back home and work with us. We love him the way we used to love him, and we stay together so that we can build this country together. Adwa golika Ndacoka ngeithie William Ruto. Ndimugeithie. Nĩ mũrenda ndĩrĩũka rĩngĩ. Na nĩ mwatuĩkire wega. Njamba ĩno nĩ ĩngĩmendaga kũnjikia Kenya. We, ũrĩa ndabangĩirwo rĩ, nĩ inyuĩ maũndũ manyu makahĩtana ndĩ mbabu. Na ndingĩkerwo nĩ marahĩtana ndĩ mbabu makauma na thabuni. Na maũndũ manyu tũrĩ maroraga ta iria rĩ riko. Tondũ mũrĩ andũ ega na mũrĩ andũ a bata. Finally it is true, ulisaidia huyu mzee, ukasema akuwe admitted na ukakuwa guarantor. That when the bill became huge, wakakutafuta, ukaambia wanitafuta mimi ni mtoto ya Maumau. Na wakanitafuta, tukasaidiana na governor and Kiarie Badilisha, I want to thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is Rigathi Gachagua talking to Raila Odinga. That was some months after they were elected into office. He was telling Raila that he was not comfortable with him working closely with William Ruto. So to him, they'd rather see Raila in the opposition and not in government. Now, fast forward to recently when Raila declared his interest in the AU top job position. That is the AU Commission's chair. After Raila declared his interest in this position, so many politicians came out to support Raila, both in the opposition and in government. Like in government, we had Speaker Wetangula coming out to support Raila, Musalia Mudavadi, who is the CS Foreign Affairs, the UDF Secretary General Malala. We also have CS Moses Kuria, Majority Leader Kimani Chungwa, and even the president himself has come out to say that they are going to support Raila for this top position. And the rallying call was that, or is that, this is not about Raila, but about Kenya as a country. And the president has promised to use all or what it takes to make sure that Raila gets this position. But ironically, Rigathi Gachagua has remained mum. He's never commented about this. He's never said anything like any positive or negative statement about Raila's interest in this position. So what does that tell you? It tells you that this is a guy who, despite the fact that there is a rallying call for Kenyans to support one of their own for this position, he's shown lack of interest, which means to him, if his enemy goes for something which can benefit the country, he doesn't care, as long as his interests are taken care of. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that Rigathi Gachagua has not commented on this portrays him as someone who has a lot of negative energy when it comes to politics. But then something that came as a surprise to him was when President Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga met Uganda President Museveni in Uganda. When the three met, they had a discussion about the trade disputes between Kenya and Uganda that they were trying to solve. And we are told that it is Raila who brokered that deal. And then thereafter, they also talked about Raila's bid for the AU top job position, and Museveni himself agreed to endorse Raila for that job. But one thing that Kenyans noted was the kind of jovial mood that the president had with Raila, and how this was kept as a top secret until it was exposed, until the videos or the photos emerged on social media. When all this emerged, curious Kenyans were asking themselves, what will Rigathi Gachagua say, or what will he do? Because from the statements that he made in the past, it was like it was a done deal that Raila was not going to work with the Kenya Courts administration. But if you look at the photos that emerged from Uganda, it shows that this is something that the two have been working on for a very long period of time without involving Gachagua. We want to look at the effects of this relationship between Raila and President William Ruto. Who is going to be the loser? Yeah, the loser here is going to be Rigathi Gachagua, because in the previous posts, it's been mentioned telling President William Ruto that he's going to guard him against Raila Odinga, working together with Raila Odinga. Then apparently, all of a sudden you see Raila very close to William Ruto. The effect of this is that Rigathi Gachagua might be sidelined in decision making because he's coming out as someone who is very emotional and irrational. And this will hit him politically because Central Kenya has been voting en masse, has been turning out en masse when they are voting against an individual, which has been Raila Odinga. If Raila gets the AU top job position, it will be out of the equation in 2027. And if you look at the patterns that in Central Kenya, they have been voting more so en masse against Raila Odinga. So if Raila Odinga is out of question, one, there will be low voter turnout in Central Kenya. And regarding Gachagua's rallying call, which has been against Raila, will have been watered down. Then secondly is the fact that William Ruto's relationship with Raila Odinga will empower him in such a way that he will be able to inherit part of Raila Odinga's strongholds, which are Nyanza, Western, and the coast. And that will give William Ruto a breathing space in such a way that even if he does away with Rigathi Gachagua, who has been working so hard to become the kingpin of Central Kenya, then after William Ruto has bagged Raila Odinga's stronghold, he will be so much comfortable he can even do away with Rigathi Gachagua. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua is trying as much as possible to scuttle this deal of Raila making it to the AU top job position. But even if he doesn't make it, even if Raila doesn't make it for that job, if he comes back and decides to work closely with William Ruto, it will still be a game shot for Rigathi Gachagua. Because eventually, if Raila comes back and decides to work with William Ruto, just as we have seen in those photos, then the person who is going to get a political hit will be Rigathi Gachagua. Because William Ruto will have inherited Raila's stronghold, or if Raila decides to work with him, then he will come in with his stronghold and political backing, which means William Ruto will have been re-energized. And by being re-energized, it means that Rigathi Gachagua cannot put any stumbling blocks or demands on William Ruto that if you don't do one or two, then we are not going to support you. William Ruto will now be so re-energized and so comfortable when trying to deliver on his promises heading to 2027. Still, William Ruto can decide to get someone from Central Kenya apart from Rigathi Gachagua. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua is still sitting somehow pretty uncomfortable about the deal between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it from us today. If you have any feedback, you can comment on the video down below. You can also share our content, but if you're new here, you can hit the video, you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Until next time, bye bye.